Today we'll be talking about atoms and molecules. So let's get right to it. What is an atom? An atom is a small particle of elements. And what do I mean by elements? I mean by the elements on the periodic table. So xenon, radon, radium, uranium, plutonium, einsteinium, hydrogen, helium, neon, all of those elements, atoms, make up. So atoms are small particles of those elements. So they're small particles of hydrogen, they're small particles of helium. So atoms make up elements, and atoms make up everything in the universe. Yes, really, everything is made of atoms. Our solar system is made of atoms. Even humans are made of atoms, and even gases that we can't see, like oxygen, is made of atoms. Everything in the universe is made of atoms. So, what makes up atoms? Are there any other small particles that make up atoms? Yes, subatomic particles make up atoms, and they are protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons are particles with a positive charge, and they weigh 1 dalton. And a dalton is a unit measure of mass for small particles like subatomic particles. And protons, they make up the core of an atom, which is called the nucleus, along with neutrons. And protons, they are made of smaller particles called quarks. And those quarks are held together by gluons. Neutrons are particles without a charge. They are not positively charged nor negatively charged, but they do weigh 1 dalton, and, like protons, they are made of quarks. They also make up the nucleus, like protons. Electrons are negatively charged. They weigh 0 daltons, and they make up the electron cloud, which is outside of the nucleus. And electrons, they're not made of quarks. They're not made of anything. They're not made of any other smaller particle. Let's talk more about the nucleus. Here's what it looks like. It's the core of an atom, like I said, and it has an overall positive charge. That's because it contains protons and neutrons don't have a charge, and protons has a positive charge, so it will have an overall positive charge. And the nucleus will attract electrons because, according to the electromagnetic force, two opposite forces will attract. So electrons, negative, protons, or the nucleus, because it has a positive charge, positive, and they will attract. So that's how electrons stay within the atom. The nucleus is where all of the atom's weight is located, because electrons don't contain any daltons. They don't weigh any daltons. So, for example, if you have a lithium atom, it contains 4 neutrons and 3 protons. So then it will have the weight of that lithium atom will be 7. So, like I said, with protons and neutrons, they consist of quarks, and they're held together by gluons. So, yeah, the same thing with nucleus. The nucleus of atoms, they're held together by something. So, the nucleus is held together by a force called the strong nuclear force, and we'll talk more about that in the next video. Now let's talk about the electron cloud. There's really not that much to it. It just consists of electrons. All of the electrons is in the electron cloud, and it has an overall negative charge. So let's talk about radioactive atoms. Well, first, different atoms have different mass numbers and atomic numbers, unless they're ions or isotopes, but we'll get to that in our next video. They have different neutrons and protons, unless they're ions and isotopes, whatever. And if it reaches to a limit, which is more than 83 protons, they become radioactive, meaning they release radiation. And they go through a process called radioactive decay because the strong nuclear force can't hold the nucleus because it has too much weight and too much protons and neutrons, and it just decays. And we'll get to that into our next video. Finally, we spent 5 minutes on atoms. Now we can talk about molecules. We're probably going to spend 1 minute on molecules, so let's just get right to it. Molecules are bonds of atoms. Atoms, they form ionic bonds, metallic bonds, or even covalent bonds to form molecules. For example, 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom, they form a covalent bond to form water molecules. Let's say oxygen. Oxygen consists of 2 oxygen atoms. An oxygen molecule consists of 2 oxygen atoms. Molecules can be broken down by electrolysis, and I probably pronounced that wrong, but it's where they use electricity to break apart molecules. They can do that. And they can use electromagnetic force to attract, the atom, and the molecule will be broken down into its original atoms or ions. And we'll get more into bonds on a later video.